The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRCMedia, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
This week in FRCmedia News, customers of CERTA will ride for free beginning January 1st. 8th graders at the Atlantis Charter School develop English language teaching aids for local migrant children. And the family of a known city abolitionist donates some of his artifacts to the Preservation Society. All this and more coming up. It's Thursday, December 21st, 2023. This is FRCmedia News. I'm Keith Tebow. Customers of the Southeastern Regional Transit Authority will be able to ride for free over the first 6 months of the new year. From January 1st to June 30th, all riders will ride for free thanks to state funds allocated from the Fair Share Act, which adds a 4% surtax on incomes of over $1 million. CERTA Administrator Eric Russo says the funds will allow for the relaunch of the Tri-Transit program, which is geared toward growing ridership, spurring local economic development, and giving riders impacted by inflation some financial relief. Mr. Russo says he hopes the authority will gather valuable data from the program.
So one of the things that we tend to look at from an authority standpoint is the operational impact. The bus can get slowed down a little bit when we have passengers paying fares at fare boxes. Even if they're tapping their card, that transaction just takes time, and that time takes away from our on-time performance and the efficiency and the throughput of our service. So one of the things that we like to dive into is the change in what we call dwell time or boarding time. And if that speeds up, has a really meaningful information for us to be able to assess the success of the pilot and the program itself. If we also see new activity in different areas, that would be a plus. Naturally, we're hoping for more ridership, but ultimately, we really want to make sure that this is a convenient service for everybody to ride and a reliable service. Because if we can be convenient and reliable, then people can turn to us, even if there is a fare or no fare. Right now, what we want to make sure that we're doing is be able to fit within people's lives and help them get where they need to go.
Some state leaders on Beacon Hill have been calling for free public transportation for all permanently. Mr. Russo says he's unsure whether the Tri-Transit program will lead to free rides past the next 6 months.
I think that pilots like this really help us build that case. But ultimately, what we find is that our riders want a full span of service throughout the day. They want service 7 days a week. They want good frequency so they don't have to wait an hour or so for a bus. And if they have all of that, they're willing to pay a little bit for a fare to support having good quality service. Now, should we reach a point where we have good quality service across the board and then there's an opportunity to go fare free, we're absolutely supportive of that. We don't want to do anything to take away from our passengers, but we want to make sure that we're there for them when they need us. And right at the moment, the optimal way for us to do that is with having a fare, but having this data through these pilot programs really helps to identify where the areas of opportunity are.
CERTA's Tri-Transit program will also include another pilot project to resume Sunday service for the first time in nearly 20 years.
Everywhere I've gone, every person I've talked to, whenever I've told them what it is that I do, where I work, the first question, if they're a rider of service or a previous rider of our services, why doesn't the bus run on Sundays? And for a long time, that's been a difficult question to answer, other than the fact that simply funding didn't allow for it. But in this legislative session, we are very fortunate to have the allocation of the fair share funding coming to the regional transit authorities. And that funding is going to provide us enough in order to pilot Sunday service for the remainder of this fiscal year, which we're very excited about. And that service is going to mirror what we operate on Saturdays, which we think is important, again, for communicating to our customers what the expectations should be. Our customers are already routing on Saturdays. They understand the schedule, the span, the timing. So it'll be a simple addition to their lives to be able to go to their worship services, shopping that they'd like to go to, see family and loved ones on Sundays, just like they can any other day of the week. But all too often, it's been overlooked as something that wasn't necessary. But on the South Coast, we have a 7-day-a-week economy, and we need 7-day-a-week service.
Along with the implementation of free and Sunday service to begin the new year, CERTA has introduced new hybrid buses to its fleet.
The first 6 buses are on the road already. They are silver and have a navy blue stripe on them. We wanted to do something that would help distinguish them against the buses we had traditionally been purchasing, but also give us the opportunity to continue to have some of that revenue enhancement of having good space to sell advertisements to help the service, to support the service overall. But the buses are largely funded through the bipartisan infrastructure law, which is really exciting for us. We're getting nearly $25 million in federal funding from there in order to have upwards of 40 hybrid electric buses running around the South Coast, which will help improve air quality, which will help improve our fuel efficiency, help reduce some of our operating expenses, and help our workforce adjust to the ever-changing environment that we're looking at as we move into fully zero-emission vehicles in the future.
CERTA expects to accept delivery of the remainder of its 40 hybrid buses by the spring of 2025. 8th graders at the Atlantis Charter School used their community civics project to publish books to help migrant children living on the South Coast learn English and adapt to living in their new country. The project was a collaboration between the school and United Neighbors of Fall River, which supports families and coordinates resources for them to survive and thrive in our region.
One of the most important things for our young children among the migrant community is language acquisition. Those that are going to school are getting it. They come into the classroom, they're surrounded by people speaking English, but those younger children that are at home in the motel all day long don't hear English, don't speak English, don't have an opportunity to really learn. So having books like this, that they can see a familiar object like food or an animal that they already know, and read the English word and hear the English word by somebody working with them, will help develop vocabulary. And it's also fun and amazing for them to have this opportunity.
Dr. Lisa Dion, Dean of Humanities and Students at the Atlantis Charter School, says the Community Literacy Project will make a lasting impact on those starting a new life in the United States.
In the past, in my past districts that I've been involved in, we have done a food drive, we have done a clothing drive, which of course both are very important, but Wendy really personalized it for us and told us how this would really help those students become more acquainted in their communities and feel comfortable and learn important words to communicate to other students and families. So definitely the literacy in the community is very important to become successful as part of a member society, and then when they go to school, they won't feel so isolated and they can join in with their peers.
The classroom project was led by social studies teacher Thomas Furman. He says the students were extremely dedicated in writing and illustrating the books, knowing it would help students who will eventually attend school locally.
I basically said, what were the first books that you remember? And of course, someone said animals, and someone said the alphabet, and all right. And one of the classes said, well, why don't we just do important words, like safety words, like help and fire and phone, the kind of things that, God forbid, there's an emergency. So then I remember we just wrote a gigantic list on the board for every class, and the list was 50 words, and then we just kind of pared it down to which ones lended themselves more to illustrations, and we came up with, the books have all between 25 to 35 words apiece. So the students really put themselves in the empathetic mindset to just what would we want to know if we were in their shoes.
8th grade student Emma Correa says it's rewarding to work on a project that will help so many people overcome the language barriers needed to living in the United States.
It was an opportunity to give all of these, not just kids, but people alike that don't speak English or don't have the money to even learn English, because we have English in school. We do have languages that can help you speak English when it is your second language. A lot of people don't have that opportunity. I feel like these books and us helping give these kids, these adults, a great opportunity to do what they weren't able to do before.
United Neighbors has helped the primarily Haitian and Brazilian migrants settle into the community while they're being housed at motels across Greater Fall River. While they still face challenges, the migrants are receiving comprehensive support from the state to ensure their transition to a new country goes as smoothly as possible.
They've been through so much trauma when we think about how they came to our country and then how they were bused to Massachusetts and living in motels, often 6 or 7 people in one room with only a microwave, with only a college-sized refrigerator. Some of them are being moved from one motel to another motel, actually in the next day or two. And the bottom line is they are so appreciative. They thank us. We apologize when things don't go the right way, and they say to us, "Don't worry. You're doing so much for us. We can't thank you enough." I've never worked with a group of people that has been more appreciative and more loving towards the work that we're doing.
Dr. Dion hopes to use the success of this civics project to connect other students to their community to help them grow into well-rounded citizens.
I want to do more project-based learning, not just in social studies and civics, but in other classrooms. We have a government and a politics course that I want students to go out to local politicians and voice their opinions of what they want to see in the community that's important to them. But I want it to happen even with the theater students, to go out and have productions for the community. They're very talented. We have art students, we have business students. There's so much we can do and have students excel in areas that are important to them. And that's where after school, life after high school, whether it be college or work-related or a professional field that they're engaged in, that's when it becomes really important.
Bristol County District Attorney Tom Quinn says his office is making headway in solving close to 90 cold cases that have remained unsolved for upwards of 50 years. The district attorney says emerging forensic technology and support from state and federal law enforcement have resulted in progress on 2 cases over the past year.
Recently, there was a body, remains found in a landfill in Fall River, I believe it was 2005. We focused on that, it was last year. Through enhanced testing, we identified the body, individual from Boston. Actually was buried, I believe, in Fall River. And that matter is under investigation. And then more recently, in 1985, remains were found on 195, I believe it was westbound in Fairhaven. The investigators did a very good job. They created like a model of from the skull of a head through I think the FBI or an anthropologist, somebody specialized to see if the person could be identified. Our investigation led to the victim, Keith Olson, had been seeing a woman, involved with a woman who also been involved with another individual by the name of John Broccoli, who appears to be affiliated with the organized crime. Bad blood between the two over the woman. We met with the family, obviously very emotional for them. Nobody knows when you have someone just disappear what happened to the person. So I think it brought closure to them. They were very appreciative of that.
DA Quinn also says his office is working through the testing of hundreds of rape kits that were never processed on behalf of victims of sexual assault.
We got a grant, we tested them. They should have been tested. Victims deserve that. And as a result of that, we have charged several people with older sexual assaults. Again, not every case, not every kit has sufficient evidence, or it depends on the facts and circumstances. One of the cases we did, the co-defendant had been convicted, but that's all they thought was one person involved. DNA led to another person who's been charged. So I'm very proud of that. We have processed all our cases. That's what should have happened, solved several of them.
Along with the day-to-day prosecution of crimes across Bristol County and the investigation of cold cases, the district attorney remains dedicated to his campaign alerting seniors to not fall prey to internet or phone scams.
I've made the effort to go out, spread the message of prevention along with the staff. I will continue to do it. It's very well received. They're appreciative. Here's the bottom line. Our seniors have done so much for our communities in the retirement stage of life, if you will. They deserve to live as best they can with all the things that come with it, with their medical issues, but to be scammed and have their money taken and be anxious and upset, we're trying to do everything we can not to assist them. But the bottom line is prevention, spread the message.
We'll have more FRC Media News right after this.
Here are some job descriptions on the latest hot jobs list from the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center. Social Studies teacher. The Fall River Public School Department, located at 417 Rock Street, is looking for a full-time social studies teacher to teach courses in social studies, history, geography, American government, political science, or humanities to students. Job number 201-59487. Service Technician. Digital Document Solutions, located at 187 Plymouth Avenue, is seeking a full-time service technician to perform basic connected installations, set up IP addresses, download printer drivers, and provide customer training on printing standalones and network devices. Job number 201-49847. Coordinated Specialty Care Coordinator. The Massachusetts Department of Mental Health, located at 49 Hillside Street, is looking for a full-time coordinated specialty care coordinator to support immediate and concrete needs to persons served regarding housing, income, criminal justice needs, and transportation. Job number 201-47105. Direct Care Professional. People Incorporated, located at 4 South Main Street, is looking for a full-time direct care professional. For more information, call 508-679-5233. The South Coast Health System, located at 363 Highland Avenue, has an immediate need for the following full and part-time positions. Housekeeper, job number 201-59454. Clinical Resource Coordinator, job number 201-56060. For more information about these or other positions, visit Mass Hire JobQuest at jobquest.dcs.ol.mass.gov or call the Mass Hire Fall River Career Center at 508-730-5000.
Welcome back. The City of Fall River has set up its schedule for Christmas tree disposal this holiday season. Pickup will take place the weeks of January 2nd through the 6th and January 8th through the 13th during normal trash pickup times. Trees must be placed beside trash carts and be free of all coverings such as lights, ornaments, and garland. Residents can also dispose of their own tree by dropping it off at the DPW yard at 10 Lewiston Street, Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 2:30 p.m. and Saturdays from 7 a.m. to noon. Residents with questions can call the Department of Community Maintenance at 508-324-2581. The Preservation Society of Fall River has recently been the recipient of family items from the descendant of a city doctor who was once a leader in Fall River's role in liberating slaves via the Underground Railroad. The family of Dr. Isaac Fisk in Canada contacted the society earlier this summer to donate heirlooms which will be stored at Dr. Fisk's former home owned by the Preservation Society at 263 Pine Street.
Dr. Fisk was a homeopathic surgeon, the first in Fall River, and some of it is actually Dr. Fisk's doctor equipment, like a mortar and pestle, some medical scales. There was a lot of books, some glass photographs, a quite large painted portrait of a family member. And just with the combination of the sizes and the delicateness of the items, it was, in the end, I think best to go get them and make sure they safely made it back 3,000 miles to Fall River. These items will make up a foundational exhibit to the future Dr. Isaac Fisk House Fall River Underground Railroad Museum. So it'll be in this house again for as long as time will allow it. And yeah, it's just thinking about how some of these items, are handled by Dr. Fisk and his family in this very spot potentially around 200 years ago. It's a feeling that, I hope a lot of the public will get to experience once the museum is open.
The proposed Underground Railroad Museum will be located at the Fisk House, and the Preservation Society recently launched a capital campaign to raise $50,000 to build out the museum.
A lot of our projects are funded either through grants or donations. The house currently serves as apartments, so some of the rental income goes right back into preserving the house, so that'll help with operating expenses. But yeah, the capital campaign really is about getting enough money to act as a catalyst to get this space open to the general public, because we really want to get people in here and start, learning about Fall River's role in the Underground Railroad and like the abolitionists who, played a small part in the city for it. We're hoping to get the museum open in 2 years' time. That's our goal right now. But we do have a couple, grant applications in, and if we are successful in some of those, the sooner we get the funds, the sooner we can get the projects going and the doors open.
The Fisk House is one of 6 known Underground Railroad locations in Fall River. Mr. Silva hopes that all 6 locations will have a presence once the museum opens.
We have a couple ideas for future exhibits. We're open to acquisitions as they come. Earlier we were donated a modern portrait of Elizabeth Buffum Chase, so we're going to have an exhibit on her. It was thought that Henry Box Brown stayed actually in this house when he escaped from slavery, so there'll probably be an exhibit on that. But we're also hoping to focus on Fall River and Massachusetts' role in the Underground Railroad, how it connected to New Bedford, and just abolition in general and race relations today.
For more information on donating to the Preservation Society, please visit their website. We will wrap up this edition of FRC Media News right after this.
Hey everyone, welcome to Hot Dogs and Cool Cats. Today with me I have Midori. Midori is a 3-year-old yellow parakeet. Midori came in as a surrender. Midori most of the days does love to just talk to himself in his little mirror. He is a little hand shy, as a lot of parakeets are. Birds do require occasional beak trimming, nail trimming. With parakeets, they do have very fragile hollow bones, so you do need to offer them calcium, which is usually in a form of cuttle bone or little calcium blocks like Midori does have in his cage. Parakeets are super great pets. They're super social. They love to be with you. It is just gaining their trust. If you're interested in meeting Midori, you can visit our website and fill out an application at foreverpaws.com. And once you have filled out an application, you can give us a call and come visit us at Forever Paws at 300 Linwood Street. Today with me, I have Hernando. Hernando does have a cone on because he did have eye surgery. Hernando came in as a stray, and his eyelids actually were not developed properly, so he did end up having to go in for surgery just to correct that, so that is why. He's a super sweet boy. He's about 2 years old. He did come in as a stray. Hernando is a super snuggle bug. He's quite a big guy. He probably is going to need to be the only cat in the home, just from seeing him interact with the other cats in the shelter. He doesn't seem to love them. If you are interested in Hernando, definitely go on our website, foreverpaws.com, and fill out an application. And once you have filled out an application, you can give us a call or come visit us at 300 Linwood Street at Forever Paws Animal Shelter.
That's all for this edition of FRC Media News. Please visit our website, frmedia.org, for all the latest news and local information. FRC Media News airs Thursdays at 6 p.m. and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. Join us next week as we provide a special edition of the program where we will look back at the community stories that impacted Fall River in 2023. We hope you can join us. For all of us here at FRC Media News, I'm Keith Tebow. Have a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you next week.